Good morning, my second farm students. This year in civics, we're going to cover, as usual, many topics. Now, our first objective for today's class is to discuss the Dutch court system in the Dutch West Indies. When you go to third farm in social studies, God's willing, you're going to learn about the court systems in islands such as Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica. Those islands are part of an organization that is called CARICOM. But in civics this year, you're going to learn about your own court system on St. Martin and the other parts of the Dutch West Indies, because it is important before you learn about others, you discover your own history, your own court system. So I will tell you today briefly about some of the court systems we have in the Dutch West Indies. Now, the courthouse on Felixburg, as you know, has been there for hundreds of years. The courthouse is where we have the lowest court in our system, where cases are heard. We call that court the Court of First Instance. And the Court of First Instance has one judge. And this judge presides or listens to cases that involves robberies, that involves murder, that pertains to drugs, embezzlement, which is a fancy word for stealing. That's where the cases of the Court of First Instance are heard, right there on Fund Street, Felixburg, St. Martin. Now, if a person loses their case in the Court of First Instance, he or she has a choice to take their case to another court, which is a higher court than the Court of First Instance. We call that the Appeals Court. Now, the Appeals Court is not situated, or should I say located, on St. Martin. It is located in Curacao. And we don't have one judge in the appeals court. We have 3 judges that take a look at the decision that the Court of First Instance made in that person's case. So the appeals court reviews the case, and they can also support the decision, which is called upheld. That's the word for support a decision of the Court of First Instance. You say it's called upheld, or it can overturn. So that's the court. That is the appeals court located in Curacao. Now, if you lose your case in the Court of First Instance, and you lose it also in the appeals court, you can take it to the highest court in the Dutch Kingdom, which is located in the Netherlands. People call it Holland. But the proper name, as you learned in first farm, is not Holland. It's the Netherlands. That's what it's called, the Netherlands. And this court is the Supreme Court. This is the highest court in the Dutch Kingdom, students. The highest one. And this court is comprised or consists of 5 judges, and they basically review, or they uphold, or they overturn the decisions that the appeals court rendered or made. And that court, again, as I told you, is located in The Hague, the Netherlands. Now we have another court on St. Martin, and according to Mr. Reinhold Groeneveld, he's acting governor of St. Martin, in a lecture that he did at the St. Martin Academy several years ago. Thus, we have a lot of information about the different courts I mentioned. It's based on his lecture that he gave at the St. Martin Academy. So that's the source of this information that I have presented thus far. Remember, his name is Reinhold Groeneveld, acting governor of St. Martin. He is a lawyer. According to Mr. Groeneveld, there is also the Constitutional Court. Now, that is a court that does exist. And what is unique about the Constitutional Court is the Constitutional Court on St. Martin is the only one that exists in the Dutch Kingdom. And the Constitutional Court, what they do is they make sure that the laws that the Parliament of St. Martin passes don't conflict with the laws of the Constitution of St. Martin. And remember, a constitution are a group of laws that governs a country, that determines the relationship between the people and the government. Remember that. What's a constitution? So I repeat again, the Constitutional Court makes sure the laws that the Parliament of St. Martin passes do not conflict with the laws in the Constitution of St. Martin. And the person that makes sure or ensures that the laws are compatible with the parliamentary laws and the Constitution is the Ombudsman. And now I will tell you that is part of our judicial system. The Ombudsman is usually someone with a legal background. They are independent of the government. And the Ombudsman, he or she also investigates complaints that are made by citizens against the government. So she investigates these complaints. He or she investigates the complaints, and he or she then tries to bring a solution or resolution, an end to the problems between the citizens and the government. So you're going to find out more about the role of an ombudsman in great detail during this year. There is also another court too, civil servants. And for those of you who don't know what's a civil servant, a person who works for the government of any country, they are called civil servants. Government employees, they're called civil servants. Now, if a civil servant has a problem with the government of St. Martin or any government that any civil servant works for, they take their cases to a judge in a court called the administrative court. So we have that, the administrative court. So they take their cases there, and that's the judge will decide what will happen, he or she. Because remember, judges can be females or male. We also have another court as well. The court that we have Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, and St. Martin, and St. Eustatius, and Saba. They share a court called the Common Court of Justice. Something I must also tell you to be aware of. St. Martin is not the only one, not the only island, I should say, that has a court of first instance. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, Saba, and St. Eustatius, and St. Martin, they have that. Okay, so let's do a little recap of what we discussed so far this morning. We have the lowest court, which is a court of first instance. Then we have the court that comes after that is the appeals court. Then we have the Supreme Court, the highest court in the Dutch Kingdom. Remember, the court of first instance is located on Front Street, Philipsburg, St. Martin, Swaliga. Then remember, the appeals court is located in Curacao. And remember, the Supreme Court is located in the Netherlands. Remember too that St. Martin has a constitutional court. That's the only island that has it in the Netherlands, in the Dutch Kingdom, constitutional court. Also remember, we have the administrative court. The administrative court is where a civil servant can take their case if they have a complaint or a gripe or a problem with the government. So they can take their case there. And remember, we also talked about the ombudsman. The ombudsman is an independent person of government, the institution. The ombudsman investigates complaints that citizens or the inhabitants of the country makes against the government, and then they try to solve that complaint between the government and the complainant, which is the citizen or inhabitant of the island. So we have that. And now some new information for you. There is also in the works, it hasn't been made official yet, it hasn't occurred as yet, But the acting lieutenant governor, attorney, that's another word for lawyer, Mr. Reinhold Groeneveld, has for several years been advocating, been lobbying for the creation of a small claims court. And what's a small claims court? It's a court where individuals have financial disputes and they try to get a settlement in court. Usually the complainants, plaintiffs and defendants, they don't have a lawyer. They basically defend themselves, and if they win their case, if they're successful, they can win a judgment, a financial judgment. You know, it's similar to what you see on the television, American TV, Judge Matters. Sometimes they have small claims, and that's an example of what we have as a small claims court. So my students, today, this video, you're supposed to know it's located on Quick Schools Discussions. After you finish, look at this video, you observe this video, watch this video. I have an assignment for you there. It's your first assignment to verify or to examine what you understood by this video, and the questions will definitely be graded, and they are questions that are going to take you on a much higher level of your thinking. They're not memorization questions. They are questions that are going to give you real life situations of actual cases or even fictional cases in certain cases, certain instances, where it will test your knowledge or understanding of what was presented thus far. Our next class, for the next class, we are going to discuss some more about the Dutch court system in the Dutch Kingdom. We're going to learn some more. There's some more courts and there's some more terms that you do, legal terms, basic legal terms that you need to know in this field of study pertaining to civics. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have until the end of the class. The times is there on your schedule where you can ask me questions during class discussion. You don't understand something, you ask me. My email is there, but you have to submit your answers on Quick Schools. It's easier for you and I if you do so. I wish you much success for this first class, and may God bless you, and protect yourself, be smart, and remember, in order for us to rise together, we must make sure we don't fall together. Be safe. God bless you.